Just like this today because A, I own a t-shirt company who also makes hoodies. This is one of them. Adventure. It's a van life hoodie. If you like that kind of lifestyle, or if you just like witty, funny, ridiculous, poignant shirts, go to the Human Shirt Company on Etsy. But this is not a commercial, okay? Yeah, I'm actually dressed like this because this is what every single DoorDash, Uber Eats, or Grubhub driver looks like when they come to my door. Because I only order those things when it's really cold and the roads are icy, I'm kind of a jerk like that. And I make other people bring me food when I'm hungry and I don't feel like cooking. So they always bundle up. And they're like, here's your damn food. And then sometimes I don't see the notification, it's on my phone, and I'm like, oh, it's been outside on the porch for 37 minutes. I thought they were late. No, they're not late. I'm just an idiot. And then my food is frozen, and then it's just a bad experience. And then I got to get a refund because, again, total jerk right here, total jerk. But when you're paying usually $20 more per delivery than what you would if you just got off your lazy ass and went and got food, then we wouldn't have to deal with any of that, would I? What am I talking about today? I am going to tell you a short story about a DoorDasher that, didn't go so well for the guy. Yeah, now I'm hungry. I'm gonna order some freaking tacos.
Midnight orders. It was a night like any other for Ethan Mills, a 28-year-old DoorDash driver hustling through the neon-lit streets of Austin, Texas. But this wasn't just another shift delivering late-night tacos and burgers. What began as a routine run would soon spiral into a mystery so twisted and eerie that Ethan would find himself at its very center. This is the true story of one fateful night when a series of strange orders, unexplained encounters, and ghostly whispers turned an ordinary delivery shift into a descent into darkness, and an ending that no one saw coming. Ethan's shift started at 10 p.m., just as the city was settling into its nighttime rhythm. The warm Texan air mixed with the hum of traffic and the distant strum of a guitar from a local bar. For Ethan, DoorDash wasn't just a way to pay the bills, it was an escape. He enjoyed the solitude of driving through the city, the rhythm of the roads, and the fleeting glimpse of human life through his car window. That evening, his phone buzzed with the first order, a dinner delivery to a small apartment complex near downtown Austin. He accepted it without hesitation, parking briefly to grab the bag from the dash hub. The order was typical, a hearty meal for a late-night worker. Ethan navigated through familiar streets, his favorite playlist filling the car, unaware that this was just the calm before the storm. Half an hour into his shift, Ethan's next order popped up on his app. The details were odd from the start. The delivery address was a nondescript location on a quiet, tree-lined street. As he approached, he noticed that the street was unusually deserted for a bustling city like Austin. The address led him to a house that on the surface appeared normal, paint peeling from the porch, a single light flickering in an upstairs window. But something felt off. Ethan rang the doorbell. After a few long moments, there was no answer. He double-checked the address on his phone, which confirmed the location. Thinking the customer might be inside, he stepped around the house. The front door was slightly ajar. As he pushed it open, a cold draft hit him. The interior was dim, furnished in an outdated style, and draped in heavy shadows. He called out, "Delivery for... is anyone here?" But received only silence. Shrugging off the eerie feeling, he placed the food on a side table and left, feeling unsettled but determined to finish his shift. Later that night, the memory of that quiet house gnawed at him. Had he just delivered to an abandoned home? Barely had Ethan delivered the first order when his phone buzzed again. This time the order was more elaborate, a multi-item dinner to be delivered to a warehouse district address on the edge of the city. The app indicated it was an urgent request. As he drove toward the location, he couldn't help but notice that the streets grew darker and less frequented. Arriving at the address, Ethan found himself in front of an old brick building that looked long abandoned. A single flickering street lamp illuminated the front entrance, casting strange, jittering shadows across the cracked pavement. Hesitant yet professional, he approached the door and knocked. No one answered. He checked his phone for instructions. Nothing had been added. Deciding to leave the order on the doorstep, he stepped back, but just then he heard a noise from inside, a low, shuffling sound that sent a shiver down his spine. Before he could react, the door swung open on its own, revealing darkness beyond. Ethan, heart pounding, quickly retreated to his car, leaving the order behind. His mind raced. Had he just delivered to a place where no one was meant to be? The rest of the night went on with a series of increasingly strange orders. One order had the delivery address change mid-route on his app, directing him to a secluded alley behind a closed-down strip mall. Another order came with a cryptic note. "They're watching. Be careful." Ethan's unease grew with each ping of his phone. Between orders, he began to notice peculiar details: streetlights that flickered erratically, shadows that moved without a source, and an overwhelming feeling of being followed. At one point, while waiting at a red light, he caught a glimpse of a figure in a long coat standing by the curb. When he looked again, the figure was gone, vanished as if swallowed by the night. Ethan's radio crackled with static now and then, and in the white noise he thought he heard indistinct voices. He chalked it up to a faulty connection, but deep down he knew something was off. As Ethan neared the final order of his shift, his heart sank when he saw the delivery address, a location in a rundown part of town that he recognized from local news reports about unsolved crimes. The order was for an expensive dinner, delivered to an address that, on his map, belonged to a row of dilapidated houses. Ethan's hands trembled as he pulled up to the address. It was an isolated house, dark and foreboding, with overgrown weeds and boarded-up windows. The app's instructions were minimal. Leave at the door, do not knock. With a deep breath, he did as told. After a few minutes, his phone buzzed with an incoming call. The caller ID was unknown. Hesitant, he answered, "Hello?" A distorted voice spoke slowly. "You shouldn't have come here." The line went dead before he could respond. Ethan's pulse raced. He quickly retrieved the order and got back into his car, speeding away from the eerie silence of that house. As Ethan drove through the darkened streets, he felt the oppressive weight of being watched. The sense of dread intensified when he noticed a car trailing him, a black sedan with tinted windows that seemed to mirror his every move. He tried to shake it off as coincidence, but the sedan stayed close, tailing him through winding back roads and deserted highways. His heart pounded as he made several sharp turns, hoping to lose his pursuer. Yet every time he glanced in his rearview mirror, the black sedan remained, its headlights like unblinking eyes. He called the police, but the dispatcher's calm voice did little to soothe his mounting terror. The call ended with a promise that an officer would be sent, but by then, the sedan had vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared. Ethan's mind reeled. Was he caught up in a simple case of urban stalking, or was there something far more sinister at work? Determined to piece together the mystery, Ethan began reviewing the orders and his phone's GPS data. He discovered that every strange delivery had occurred near locations with a dark history, abandoned buildings, old crime scenes, and areas of unsolved disappearances. His app records even showed strange fluctuations, orders that were accepted, then canceled, then reissued to different addresses, as if someone or something was manipulating his route. Late that night, after dropping off his final order, Ethan pulled over in a quiet parking lot and rewatched the recordings from his dash cam. His hands shook as he scrutinized every frame. At one point, he saw that inexplicable figure in the street, a man in a long coat with an inscrutable expression, and then a flash of red light. In the distance, a black sedan was clearly visible following him. The evidence was undeniable. He was being drawn into a carefully orchestrated mystery, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was the unwilling centerpiece. In the days that followed, Ethan's life became consumed with trying to understand the bizarre events of that night. He reached out to local journalists, combed through old archives, and even visited libraries. What he uncovered was startling.
The addresses from his orders were linked to several unsolved cases: a missing delivery driver, a series of unexplained break-ins, and even a notorious serial killer rumored to have vanished decades ago. One case in particular caught his attention. A man named Gerald Red Thompson had been a local enigma, a DoorDash driver much like Ethan, who had vanished after a series of strange orders, never to be seen again. Gerald's case had been dismissed as a tragic accident, but now the parallels were too uncanny to ignore. Ethan began to suspect that the mysterious orders were not random. They were part of a larger, malevolent plan, designed to trap him in a web of unresolved crimes and ghostly echoes of the past. One rainy evening, nearly a week after his unnerving shift, Ethan received one last order. The app notification glowed on his phone, a new delivery to an address that he hadn't seen before. The order was marked urgent and came with a chilling note: "This is your final delivery. Meet me at the address. Do not be late." The address led him to a decrepit warehouse on the outskirts of Austin, shrouded in mist and lit only by sporadic flashes of lightning. Ethan's heart pounded as he parked his car and stepped out into the rain. Every instinct screamed for him to turn back, yet something, a sense of inevitability, propelled him forward. Inside the warehouse, the air was thick with decay and the stench of old secrets. His flashlight beam danced over peeling walls and broken windows until he reached a small makeshift table. There, lying atop a faded envelope, was a single sheet of paper. With trembling hands, he unfolded it. The note read, "You have been chosen to finish what was started. Gerald's fate was sealed, and now yours hangs in the balance. Look behind you."
Spinning around, Ethan's blood ran cold. In the doorway stood the silhouette of a man in a long coat, the very same figure he'd seen on the deserted streets and in his dash cam recordings. His face was obscured by shadow, but the glint of red in his eyes was unmistakable. "Who are you?" Ethan managed to choke out. The figure stepped forward, and in that moment, the truth shattered everything Ethan thought he knew. The man removed his hat, revealing a face that was both familiar and horrifyingly distorted. It was Gerald Red Thompson, the missing DoorDash driver whose case had haunted local legend for years, but something was amiss. Gerald's eyes, once full of life, now burned with an unearthly intensity. "You don't remember, do you?" Gerald rasped. "We were meant to cross paths. You, like me, were part of something far larger than a simple delivery. I was trying to warn you. They used us, our routes, our orders, to cover up a network of unsolved crimes and disappearances. I was sacrificed to keep the secret, and now it's time for you to learn the truth." Ethan's mind reeled as the pieces fell into place. Every strange order, every eerie encounter, they were all part of an elaborate setup, orchestrated by a secret organization that used DoorDash routes as a cover for their nefarious activities. Gerald had been a pawn, manipulated into unwittingly delivering evidence of unspeakable crimes, and when he got too close to the truth, they silenced him. But then, the twist became even more startling. Gerald stepped closer, his voice softening. "You were chosen not just by fate, but by blood. The reason you were on that route, the inexplicable coincidences, they're no accident. You and I share more than a profession. You're my son. I had to disappear to protect you from those who would do us harm." Ethan staggered back, stunned into silence. The revelation that his missing father, whom he'd never known, was entangled in this web of mystery and crime left him reeling. Gerald's spectral appearance, his ghostly presence on his dashcam, and the sinister orders were all a part of a legacy he had inherited. Before Ethan could utter another word, the warehouse lights flickered and dimmed. In that moment of supernatural clarity, Gerald's form began to fade into the shadows. His final words echoed in Ethan's ears: "Find the truth and break the cycle." Then, as if pulled by an unseen force, Gerald vanished completely, leaving Ethan alone with a mind awash in conflicting emotions, a blend of grief, anger, and a desperate need for answers. In the weeks that followed, Ethan dove headfirst into the dark underbelly of a conspiracy that spanned the city. He uncovered evidence that implicated a powerful syndicate using food delivery routes to mask their criminal operations. With every revelation, the ghostly image of his father, Gerald, haunted him, not as a specter of horror, but as a guide urging him to set things right. Ethan's journey transformed him from a simple DoorDash driver into an investigator of secrets, determined to dismantle the network that had claimed so many lives. The case of Gerald Red Thompson became the catalyst for a series of exposés that shook the city. Yet, even as he exposed corruption and crime, Ethan couldn't shake the bittersweet reality that his own story was forever intertwined with the ghosts of the past. In the end, the mystery that began with a late-night delivery revealed a truth far more profound than he ever expected. Sometimes, the past isn't something we escape, it's something that shapes our destiny. And every midnight order may carry with it a secret, waiting in the darkness for someone brave enough to uncover it.
No, I ordered. So I don't get a refund. I have to go through the door. I got to go through the app. I don't want to go through the app. They only give you like a $5 refund. You screwed up my entire order. How hard is it to make a taco, people? Okay, so talking to you is getting me nowhere. Is that what you're saying? Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for nothing. So yeah, there are millions of people out there delivering food to doors just like mine, to businesses. I think most of the traffic on the road right now is people getting ride shares and people getting food delivered. I think that's what everything on the road is right now. Oh, and delivery trucks from Amazon and UPS and FedEx. And there's no more people. If you like this story, this individual story, hit the like button. All that stuff helps. So thank you if you've done all of that. And if you haven't done all of that, could you please? Be nice of you. Anyways, I'll see you next week. I don't know what the story's gonna be, but I guarantee you one thing, it's gonna be just awful. Like I imagine my hair is right now. I'm feeling things moving up here that's not normal. But again, thank you for watching. See you next week.